Electric Avenue. And then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. And then we'll take it higher. Working so hard like a soldier. Can't afford a thing on TV. Deep in my heart I abhor ya. Can't get food for the kid. Good God, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. And then we'll take it.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good night. It's the FAK1165 Show. It's Sunday, November the 16th, 2025. And that means we have Prophet of Fiction on once more, exploring his writings on fake written history. He's a Canadian, he's a Dutchman, he's a regular on the show now, and he's down there in Osaka, Mexico somewhere, floating around, staying warm as we get blown around by blowing snow here in November. And we're going to talk about the Electric Bible one more time. Say hello to our guest, Prophet of Fiction. Hello.
Hello, psychologist.
Welcome. You're a regular on this show. How about that?
It's amazing.
Well, who would have guessed it? Who would have guessed? We got Skate and Destroy, Pete Trippa in the chat. I heard that you were on Jenna's show.
Well, Jenna and Brian were filling in for someone on Republic Broadcasting Network, RBN.
Yeah, how'd that go?
And very good. A bit more exhausting since I wasn't just reading, but even the reading can be intense.
What do you mean you weren't just reading? What were you doing?
Well, I was answering questions and commenting on topics.
Okay. With them, or do they have an engaged audience?
There is an audience. There were on average during the 2 hours about 200
wow,
people.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the topic was, well, you can probably guess, communitarianism. But he wanted me on because there is too much Christian Zionism being mixed up with this by people such as, who is the big voice in technocracy?
Patrick Wood?
Correct.
Is he a Zionist shill?
At least a Christian Zionist.
Is that right?
Yeah. They produced I don't know what to call it, a podcast with 5 speakers.
Who's they?
And,
who's they?
No, it doesn't come to mind, but it's very recent. And yes, they were talking about the end times and how good it is that so many Jews are returning to Israel. So Brian and Jenna wanted me on to counter this somewhat, let's call it naive view that the Bible makes some sense and Zionism makes any sense.
So it's probably the opposite. Probably very few Jews going to Israel now. I think their population's in decline too.
Yeah, might be.
Well, whatever they tell us, I usually go with the opposite view.
Mm-hmm.
I invert. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. As do I very often. So, yeah, strange things were said. They really focused on the whole Zionist argument for or the connection to technocracy hinges on Revelation verse 13:18, which mentions the number of the beast, 666. As the identification without which you can't do anything, can't participate in the market. And I made some, I hope, devastating points on that matter, on that verse and chapter. Mm-hmm. Much else was said. Brian likes to jump all over the place, but that's part of it.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'm glad Brian has a show. Where's the link to the show? Because I don't tune in live. I'm one of those people that need to get a download and listen to it at
Uh-huh.
1.25 speed when I'm driving down the highway. I can't sit at my
Mhm.
desk. I can barely sit at my desk long enough to do my own show.
Right. Well, it would be on the RBN
All
website.
right. I wish there was an easy link. They're an old school website. They don't seem to ever want to update and comply with the way everyone's listening to stuff these days. In other words, no easy podcast
Uh-huh.
link, which
No, well, I think you can. There is an archive by
oh
day,
yeah, you got
so
to
it would
pay
be
for that.
2 days. No, no, no. I don't think so. I was there and I
Oh,
copied the
okay. Do you
link
have
into
the
the
link handy and dandy?
email. Not at the moment, but it
All
wouldn't take
right.
much. I shared it with someone else recently. Um, let's see. There it is. Where should I post it?
Oh, okay. Put it in private chat, and I will yeah, put it in private chat if you don't mind.
Sure. Is that the right private chat?
Okay.
Oh,
Let's take.
maybe I should put it in the. You want it in Discord
No, that's
or?
good. That's perfect. I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Prophet of Fiction.
Okay.
Let's take a look here and show the good listenership where they can see it. Let's see here. Oh, I see. You search for the name Prophet of Fiction on the main site. And where is it here? Okay. Perfect. Thank you. And can I
Welcome.
download it? That's an interesting opening song. So I guess here. Okay, so I can download it somewhere here. Download. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll put a link to that. Well done, well played. I'll put it in today's show notes, which is FAK1165. Okay, so let's start the show. What do you got?
Did I start
Yep,
sharing
here
yet?
we go. Ooh, electric chair.
Yeah, and let's make special note of the what to call those, the caps, the
Yeah.
helmets.
Is that a hair dryer?
um,
No.
nearly so. Yeah, it's funny. Well, this will be relevant because this first little subchapter is about the cup or cap, the word, how it's used in the Bible, and how it connects to the electricity theme. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I ended with a discussion of, no, where is it? One moment. Um, I ended with the electric chair, I think, and dynamite. And so today we continue with a detail of the electric chair, the cap.
Oh, can you just stay on that picture? I want to use that as my screenshot, just right there. I will
Yeah, I
make
can.
that the thumbnail for today. That'll really scare people into compliance. Let me just put that, and I'll send that to my off-site thumbnail generator, and we'll put that on there. That's pretty good. Good picture. Thank you. I got it. I
Yeah.
snatched it. Go for it.
Great,
Perfect.
great. Okay. So we start with the cup, cap, crown of death. It's all going to be linked. And it hinges on my evidence that the original Bible was written in English, and many, many puns, dark puns, exist in the English translations, or not translations, I should say, originals. All right. In the Bible, the word cup is often an English crypto pun on the words cap and crown, which I believe really mean the cap worn by criminals, sinners condemned to being killed or tortured by electrocution. After all, crowns made of gold and or silver would be very electrically conductive. Jesus said, "Remove this cup from me." Before the text states, his, Jesus, sweat was, as it were, great drops of blood falling down to the ground. This is during the Passion on the Mount of Olives, prior to his crucifixion. He was under so much stress that the narrator had to compare his sweat to great drops of blood, which is very odd. Imagine blood leaking through the skin. Such bleeding can only be produced by electrocution. I have checked that. So this seems to fall in line with my interpretation of electrocution. Prior to his implied electrocution, Jesus was anointed with oil by a woman. Why? Because he was named King of the Jews, also related to the, connects with the crown theme. Thus, the Gospels speak of Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem as if he were a triumphant king. I emphasize this point because in Western Europe, kings' heads are anointed or greased with oil. This ritual is based on the preparatory process for an execution by electrocution. Before criminals are electrocuted, their heads are shaved and oiled. This also explains why Samson's hair was shaved off before he was captured by the Philistines and electrocuted between the two pillars, electrodes, of Dagon's temple. Electrocution can cause involuntary muscle contractions, which provides an exaggerated explanation for how Samson pulled down the temple's pillars. Let's make a review of the Bible's use of the word cup. The word cup first appears in the Pharaoh's chief butler's dream reported in Genesis. The report ends with the words, "And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand." Joseph interprets many parts of the butler's dream, but not the cup. He left that to us. Well, not coincidentally, pharaonic crowns could be used like cups because they are very cap-like. There's an image of one. Just use it upside down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. In chapter 44, Joseph orders his silver cup placed in the bag of his youngest brother, Benjamin. Later, Joseph has a dream about being the king of his 12 brothers. So here's being a king and the cup. It looks like it could be code for cap or crown, silver crown. Kings wear crowns as captains. There's the word cap again. Wear caps. In 1 Kings, the authors used the word cup in another simile. The brim thereof was wrought like the brim of a cup with flowers of lilies. It contained 2,000 baths. Not coincidentally, some European crowns feature ornamental lilies and stylized lilies. This is quite close to a lily. With one exception, the same description is provided in 2 Chronicles 4, where 2,000 baths becomes 3,000 baths. What kind of cup can hold so much? What fact is encrypted here? I suspect the authors meant that the cap could conduct 2,000 to 3,000 volts, not hold so many baths. More than enough to kill a person. The word baths might hint at the word watts, another measure of electrical power. Psalm 24 sounds like the torture victim suffering from beaten wife and Stockholm syndrome. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Yeah, the whole cap could be oiled, I suppose. The rod and staff are instruments of torture and control, and possibly the former is an electric rod. The table is being prepared in the presence of mine enemies because the narrator knows he will be eaten by them after post-electrocution. post cooking. His head is yeah, his head is anointed with oil because he will be cooked, and the oil on his head runs over his cup because cup means cap. Even in modern day electric chair executions, after victims are shaved, their shaved areas are prepped with conductive gel or saline solution to enhance conductivity and reduce the risk of burns. Psalm 73. Therefore, his wicked people return here, and waters of a full cup are wrung out of them. Yeah, what does that mean? Wicked people can expect to be tortured, squeezed like sponges until a cap full of water, quote unquote, is extracted from them. Well, whether it is a cup or a cap, the image is hellish. Actually, verse 75.8 clarifies the matter. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. Right. In the Bible, wine symbolizes blood. So I may have to say that, this is perhaps the bleeding of the victim post-electrocution, as they prepared to drink the blood. After a few more references to wringing people and God's cup full of fury, Jeremiah gives us this beautiful vision. For thus says the Lord God of Israel, unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. Then I took the cup at the Lord's hand and made all the nations to drink, unto whom the Lord had sent me. I suppose if electrocution is done with the writhing victim hanging upside down, like St. Peter on the cross, the cup might fill with blood. And maybe the wringing, the squeezing, or the draining of the body happens after electrocution. Of course, cups can be cups, just cups. And wine can be wine, for alcohol is another weapon of the WC. One used to pacify the masses as they are tortured with economic and cultural weapons.
Alcohol is the worst.
And Matthew,
so bad.
Some people are in deep denial about it.
It is quite the drug.
It's a serious problem in Mexico.
Everywhere. I think everywhere.
Yeah, I just hear more stories about it, perhaps, but I don't know the stats. But geez, they used to. This used to be a company town.
What kind of company?
They used a Spanish textile company. And they used to give workers alcohol
to pacify them for the low wages.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and mind-numbing work. All right.
Now they don't have to do it because it's all gone.
Right. Sorry,
the
what's
work.
all gone?
The work is all gone.
Yeah, well,
overseas, Sri Lanka.
Well, maybe that applies
Bangladesh,
more to
just all the factory textiles. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's true. This textile town is no longer a textile town.
That's my point.
Yeah, it became more of a and lucky immigrants who are moving here from Mexico City and Canada, the U.S.
Are you talking just retirees or who moves down there?
Yeah, a lot of retirees. That's true, but young. Yeah, and people who were scared during COVID came here without much money because it is a picturesque place.
Yeah, but is there anything to do there to make a living? I mean,
no, people are working online or opening restaurants, of which we have too many.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting. I could say more, but
do tell. I like this kind of a discussion, real talk.
Yeah. There is a huge gallery now, which used to be, they say, used to be used as a textile factory, although we do have one or two other buildings for
Okay.
that purpose that are empty. And those other two are very ugly. This one is quite a palace, very heavy stone used to build it. I hear it's been renovated since it stopped being a textile factory, but there is the original structure, the space, and the location. It's impossible to believe that it could have been intended as a textile factory. I suspect it was a retreat for the elites who lived in the city 40 minutes by car from here.
Okay.
And that, yeah, they had their parties there and who knows what else. And this stopped, as I and other historians argue, around the beginning of the Industrial Revolution or the middle, as these elites abandoned their cities and went somewhere else, perhaps in that secret island hidden in the Pacific that Unreal
Oh yeah.
speculated might exist. I think it's a good guess, but who knows?
Yeah, there's probably lots of places in the South Pacific.
Yeah. Yeah, there is at least one myth about an island having been there, the island of Mu.
Mhm.
Mu.
We'll have to get Unreal back. You guys might be able to have a good conversation.
Yeah, we did have a good one. It stopped as we were discussing is the agenda depopulation or multiplication? And we differed a little bit, and I wanted to move on to another topic. I haven't heard from him
Oh,
since.
okay. Well, he's probably busy in the south of France.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right. In Matthew 20, a woman who thinks Jesus is a king asked Jesus to give her sons the privileges of princess. But he replies, but Jesus answered and said, "You know not what you ask." It's like something so terrible about being a prince, having a crown. Are you able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? They say unto him, We are able. And he said unto them, You shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared. Father, what kind of horrible cup and baptism was Jesus thinking of? Perhaps the horrible cup is the cap worn during electrocution, and the horrible baptism refers to the satanic tradition of cooking humans in a pot. Yeah, well, it is the edible Jesus speaking, the man whose flesh and blood was devoured, symbolically at least. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink you all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. Excuse my missing verse and chapter. Now, the cup functions to remit sins. This is exactly or similar to punishing criminals in order to create justice, to erase the injustice, the sin, the crime. The cap has electrodes that kill the victim, eliminating the sinner, criminal, and creating the illusion of justice. Now you know what that tradition silly Jews honor by wearing little caps on their heads. Now you understand, I should say.
Yeah.
That silly tradition Jews honor by wearing little caps. Oh no, it is what silly tradition?
And the Catholics.
The Catholic clergy, bishops, yeah.
The little beanies.
Yeah. Silly Jews and bishops, indeed. All right. A little confirmation of the of knowledge of electricity in the Bible. The WC, the world controllers, already had simple electric devices 200 to 300 years before the Industrial Revolution. That explains why the Bible's authors already had knowledge of what electricity can do, and perhaps the best evidence of this is in the miracle stories of the prophets Elijah and Elisha. Elijah's first miracle was to stop rainfall for 3.5 years. Electromagnetic technology is presently being used by corporations and governments to prevent and cause rainfall. Elijah causes rainfall. Elijah resurrected a widow's son. Electricity can be used to revive the heart. Elijah summoned lightning fire down from heaven 3 times. Perhaps this implies the use of solar lens and mirror arrays to turn sunshine into a weapon. Perhaps it implies that the Satanists developed devices that attract lightning strikes even more effectively than modern lightning rods. Elijah parted the Jordan River, just as Moses parted the Red Sea. Electric, magnetic, and electromagnetic fields and waves can manipulate water, possibly in large quantities. If large forces are applied, can manipulate water. I can separate, this is a screw up, can separate hydrogen from oxygen. That's how hydrogen can be produced with electric currents. My apologies. So separating the basic components of water resembles separating the river, separating the Red Sea. It could all be symbolic for what electricity can do. Elisha causes an axe head to float to the surface of the water. Electromagnetic forces can move metal objects in water if the metal is iron, nickel, or some other ferromagnetic metal, and if the electromagnetic fields are strong enough. Elisha strikes a man and the Syrian army with blindness. Electrocution can blind victims. Elisha cures the Syrian army of blindness. Doctors have a long history of using mild electric currents to help stimulate and cure ailments, and alternative treatments continue to use electricity as a treatment for blindness. I'm not sure about how effective that is, but it exists. And some people may have heard of the Baghdad battery.
Okay.
Supposedly very ancient. Curiously, very curiously, in 2 Corinthians 4, Paul mentioned a metaphorical treasure. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. What kind of treasure could be stored in clay jars and be associated with power? Since the 1300s, power meant ability, especially in battle, mastery, lordship, dominion. Technology increases such power, and the technology of electricity is a form of power. And very coincidentally, electric power was stored in jars or vases that served as containers or chemical batteries, such as the Baghdad battery. There is a vase-like battery full of power. Much controversy exists about whether the Baghdad battery was actually a battery. In my overread opinion, the Baghdad battery is only one of thousands of batteries that were used by the WCC for a variety of purposes. And they were destroyed as they transitioned us from the wood age into the industrial age and didn't want us to know what they had. Why destroy them? So that we would not know how to make batteries and not know that electric technology existed before the overhyped Industrial Revolution. Fortunately, the Western criminal cabal loves to leave bits of evidence of their power, so they left one non-functioning battery in Baghdad. If 2 Corinthians 4:6 refers to a battery, I suspect coincidence does not explain why the next verse says, "For God, who commanded the light to shine out of the darkness, has shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. That's such a strange way of speaking, but there we go. Lights and lights. And Paul wrote, the light of the glorious gospel of Christ should shine unto them. Not coincidentally, the light of the glorious gospel is not a natural or literal light, and not coincidentally, the word gospel ends in the letters EL, as does the word Bible, if I may spell the book's name phonetically. Why were these hints about electricity placed in a letter sent to Corinth? Perhaps Corinth hints at Corinth or current, a word used in the phrase electric current. In Spanish, it is corriente eléctrica, and in French, courant électrique. The word current is related to courier, meaning runner, and Corinthians uses the words run and runner more than any other book in the Bible. But I am running out of patience with these occult word games. How bad are the Bible's word games? Torturous. When I asked if electric lights were used before 1800 to torture people, Paul answered, for our light suffering, which is but for a moment, creates for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Why glory? Did the authors mean glory? Glow. But only for a moment. Electric torture lasts only for a moment. Indeed, that is true, Paul. In the book of Daniel, a goat symbolizing Satan and Lucifer, the light bringer, defeats a ram symbolizing God, and the goat conquers it in the fury of his power. So, Lucifer, the light bringer, defeating the ram with his power. It could be all word games based on knowledge of electricity and what it can do. What a funny expression, for our light suffering.
By the way, are we taking calls tonight?
Yeah, sure. These are short sub-chapters. There's many places I can pause.
Okay. I just opened the phone lines if anyone wants to call in, or they can also come into the studio.
Next, the decapitation ritual. In one of my other books, I've made some nice links to capitalism, but here we'll stick to the Bible. Some Catholic paintings and churches here in Mexico and Spain especially have many pictures of decapitated or disembodied heads, sometimes attached to little wings. Some churches even have stone heads all over them, including the heads of the famous Green Man, which is in Western Europe, England especially. Why? It's morbid to depict decapitated heads. What's behind this tradition? In Andres Lopez painting Santísima Trinidad, 3 pale, soft, girlish men with triangle halos stand on a heap of decapitated children's heads, and above them hover the winged heads of more decapitated children.
Wonderful.
Who can wrest a positive meaning from this painting? I can't. 1780, very close to if that's right, I suspect it might be very close to the French Revolution, and the American Revolution, which I use kind of as a reference point for the big transition from architecture to literature, and the ruling class's decision to kind of cast a net over the entire world with literature, the media, international trade, so on. Let's review the Bible's treatment of beheading. And we go back to the Pharaoh's chief baker and chief butler. They are imprisoned without reason. The chief butler has a dream in which he fills the Pharaoh's cup with freshly squeezed grape juice. That's refers to blood
Nice.
again, right? And the chief butler has a dream in which he carries white baskets full of baked meats. Most people guess that is bread, as it is in many translations. And bread, again, is a symbol for human, well, Jesus' body,
Yeah.
so flesh. And he carries that on his head. But birds devour the baked meats. Joseph interprets these dreams to mean that the chief butler will be fortunate because within 3 days, the Pharaoh shall lift up your head and restore you unto your place, give you your job back. But says the chief baker's dream means that within 3 days, the Pharaoh shall lift up your head from off you. He just added these 3 words. And shall hang you on a tree, and the bird shall eat your flesh from off you. Joseph's wording about their heads is so similar that it might imply both men will meet the same fate. This is, in fact, confirmed by the fact that both bread and wine represent parts of the human body, the one flesh, the other blood. But why does this cannibalistic tale, confirmed by the birds eating the bread, also involve decapitation? In some versions of the Bible, the chief butler is the chief cupbearer, crown bearer, like young Ganymede in Roman mythology. Why is the human head important to cannibals? Perhaps the Bible will whisper the truth to us here. Then he wrote a letter to them a second time, saying, if you are on my side and you will listen to my voice, take the heads of the men, your master's sons, and come to me at Jezreel tomorrow about this time. Now the king's sons, 70 persons, were with the great men of the city who were rearing them, farming them, maybe. That's something I will discuss in another show. When the letter came to them, they took the king's sons and slaughtered them, 70 persons, and put their heads in baskets and sent them to him at Jezreel. When the messenger came and told him, saying, they have brought the heads of the king's sons, he said, put them in 2 heaps at the entrance of the gate until morning. The passage seems to make a pun on the 2 meanings for the word head in English. The heads or leaders of men are decapitated, the young princes or would-be princes. This happens to a few leaders in the Bible. Among them are Goliath and John the Baptist. The latter's head was served on a charger, a plate, a dish, or a platter, depending on the version. I believe the message is clear. The head, or part of it, is to be eaten. And this is how the Bible works. It really develops the theme from the beginning to the end and doesn't make sense until you get to the end. It doesn't have the clear evidence or hint, the strong hint, missing hint, until the New Testament, where, as in this case, the head is served on a platter. And which is exactly what I suspected as I began with the Old Testament. Though confirming my suspicion that the Bible was written as a whole at one time, simultaneously, every book.
When do you think
The Edible Children.
Yeah, have we got into when you think it was written?
When I think it was written? Yeah, around the American Revolution, 1776. Because as other parts of this book reveal, there are too many allusions to events, cryptic, coded allusions to events from the 16th, 17th, all over the place, post, life of Jesus. And originally, 10, 15 years ago, I thought the Renaissance, the middle of the Renaissance was the end, around the founding, the alleged founding of the Jesuits. I thought that was the time of the writing. But I had already some evidence that contradicted that wanted a later date, and I let it sit, ignored it, thought it was coincidence, but the evidence accumulated, and with this theme of electricity, the nail is in the coffin. Okay, one more section. This one also short. Shall I proceed?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Speaking of Jesuits, the edible children of God, the Jesuit extreme oath of induction is circulating on the internet. I suppose it's sworn by elite Jesuits. It includes swearing to be willing to tear unborn children out of their mothers' wombs. I hope the oath is fake and that it alludes to an actual morbid. That doesn't quite make sense, but suspect that it alludes to an actual morbid cannibalistic practice. The Bible, which seems, at least in part, an encrypted record of cannibalistic practices, could clarify exactly what the world cannibals do with born and unborn children. We already had the young men who want to be princes in the previous chapter. Perhaps my hope was in vain about the Jesuit oath. Hosea perfectly echoes the Jesuit oath. Samaria shall become desolate, for she has rebelled against her God. They shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. Jesus also prophesied horror for children and unborn babes. How miserable those days will be for pregnant and nursing mothers. What if the authors were not only prophesying the future, but also describing the past? What if they intentionally created misery for mothers and the babies they were raising in underground human farms? And Isaiah prophesied the same. Their infants will be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Of course, babies can't be dashed to pieces. They're not made of ceramic, but they can be cut to pieces by cannibals. In Exodus, the Pharaoh instructed, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if it is a girl, let her live. King David blessed the same action. When you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on a delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if it is a girl, let her live. And I guess during Herod's time, the same command was given, but the excuse was he wanted to kill Jesus.
We got a caller coming in if you want, Peter.
Yeah, let me just finish two sentences.
That's why I turned the ringer off, so it doesn't bother people.
Great. But why kill boys? We must think like satanic farmers. If you want to breed humans, you need very few males.
That's true.
Many
I was going to say.
Ugh. Okay.
All right, let's see who's calling.
Hold time, 1 minute, 49 seconds.
Hi, caller in, or where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hey, FAK11.
Or what's your name, and where are you calling from? Sounds like Jay from Texas.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, hey, FAK11.
Jay, what's happening in Corpus Christi, the body of Christ in Texas?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. No, I love this show. It's very interesting topic. I love it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, and Prophet, you're in Mexico, the story of Jesus to the bread. Have you heard of that story of Quetzalcoatl down there? And the serpent?
Yes, the flying serpent.
Yeah, and like he came as a benevolent God, almost just like the way the Jesus story is. And then he does the 40-day fast and everything, and they make a figure of his body and they divide it up out of bread. amongst themselves, and then the worshippers eat it with great solemnity, like great devotion, and just the same. It's
Uh-huh.
yes, the same. It's the same. It matches up like perfectly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm already. I didn't know those details, but I was already convinced that
Uh,
all this Mesoamerican myths are concocted by Jesuits, Masons, or whoever of their ilk.
yeah. It's interesting because like I've always think like because they believe that there are like superhumans, but like like intelligence comes from like everything, right? Like everything has some form of intelligence, and it's almost interesting. Like, have you heard that song by Red Hot Chili Peppers called Californication? They have like verses in there of because you're talking about the babies and everything, right? And
Hmm.
there's a verse in there of them like a pregnant girl getting high on information, and
Getting high on
on
information.
information. Yes, and my thing about that is like going back to the whole like Mesoamerica, and then like you going to back to like how you're interpreting the pictures and the rituals. Like think like
Hmm.
they find these people who have very intuitive and intuition, because not only is there energy fields out there like plasma, but we have plasma in our bodies. You know, it probably is not the same type, but it does run an electrical charge through your body.
Oh, are you getting at the idea that they're also harvesting our energy?
No, I think the information from the higher ups based on who they could, because it's like who is more pure and more divine,
Hmm.
and they're trying to not only use the energy, but when they get it to like a lower state, they because it's real interesting how you said there's a lot of depictions of the green man or the wood wozy, the wild man out in the woods. He goes out to get
Right.
inspiration, almost like a monk, or like the way Jesus'
Mm.
story did. Like he was missing for like 10 years in his 20s, and he just appeared. Very, very. God, I love this topic.
Yeah.
I love this topic. It's awesome. But yeah,
Thanks. Thanks.
yeah.
You are losing me a
Jay, what
little
do you
bit
think
in
of
the.
the cannibalism? And is there a big cricket behind you that's chirping away?
I'm sorry. I'm in my backyard. I'm kind of out in my
What the heck is that? You got giant cicadas or something?
No, it's just crickets and
My
someone
God,
that it picks up.
crickets are a lot. What do you think of the cannibalism aspect that's really prominent in this discussion?
Well, like he said, they like eat the brain, and in a lot of these old tribal traditions about that and war, it's like to get the knowledge of your
Mhm.
of whatever, they call it their enemy, but I
Yeah.
just call it another way that they probably
Yeah.
gained knowledge back then. And how, because you know how in these evolutionary periods you have these stair step evolutions of humanity, like the Sumerians and other cultures like the
Like,
Dogons, they just like rise up out of nowhere, and then maybe they believe in
uh,
something like that, like if somebody's more smarter
well,
than
uh, if I may interject, Jay,
just.
I think you're referring to a lot of myths that have been written by these same people, myths about how native people lived and
Yeah.
of them
I think
committing cannibalism
I think
because
they're talking about themselves, and then they're putting it on the natives. You know what I'm saying?
exactly, yes,
Projecting,
Yeah.
that's
projecting.
why it's projecting,
There you go. Yeah,
exactly.
that's the word. That's the word.
Yeah, and projecting and twisting. So I don't believe they were really interested in eating the whole brain. I think as cannibalism evolved, developed, they realized that there were maybe the pineal gland who had something special for them, and maybe they had some
The
laboratories to extract hormones from
intuition
them.
gland, the prediction gland. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The pineal gland. It's
Yeah,
depicted as a pine cone and stuff like that.
yeah, and I think they were
Yeah,
I guess their motive was mostly to extend their lives, to feel healthier as they're aging, and to pursue immortality in vain, of course. But
Well,
they
well,
will do it.
like I believe that there are people in this world that have more intuition than others, because I mean, you have like
Yeah.
you have like the instinct of animals, but then insects are a really good example because they got antennas, and that has to be picking up something, because that's what an antenna does. And even when you look at the cross on the back of Jesus, they like use them as an antenna, you know, and it goes to these to that same figure that you see with the sticks and the snakes. It's probably their interpretation with
Right.
how they're thinking it and everything. It's a very interesting aspect on
Yeah.
a whole new world of the life and like there is something, because I mean, why else would they be doing all this? Why would they? I mean, because back then during the Renaissance, it took forever to create pictures. Why would they spend so much time, you know, putting this image there if it's not all for nothing? I mean, right? There has to be some reason. And
Well, yeah. Which image do you mean?
well, just all these images like you're talking about of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of the
There's
body,
obviously
and
there's
they're trying to make it holy and angelic, when
Yeah.
it really is not. So there's something else
Right.
more to it.
There are certainly busy bees. Yeah, I don't know how many of them are involved in all of this production of lies and
Well,
deception.
my thinking of how they're getting the future, just like with that song, how the pregnant girl high on information, that's always in every type of rituals everywhere throughout humanity. I mean, if you can give people the information of the past and then let them see the current and then let them see the possibilities of the future in one like eyesight, in one frame, and if they're able to think like that, they could probably get a good prediction of the future, because that's how that Minority Report pre-crime thing is, and that's how they're trying to use AI to. It's insane.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I just saw like an AI video of Venezuela, and it was yesterday, like literally like 9 hours ago, and it's just like Trump saying, "I messed up," and they attacked the fleet. And it's just some crazy AI video, but it's crazy how everybody's using AI, all these different types of AI to do predictions, and they.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's just interesting.
the-
Like you can bet on anything now, and it's all AI. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
it's-
It's crazy.
the production of fakery has accelerated enormously.
Hey Jay, I gotta
Thank you,
go
thank
because
you,
those
though.
crickets are driving me nuts.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry about that, big office.
That's
Thank you,
okay,
Prophet,
but
and
thanks
thank you
for calling in, huh? Appreciate it.
Yes, you have a good evening.
Thank you. There goes
Thanks,
there
Jay.
goes the crickets and Jay. And we only got about 5 more minutes, so I thought we'd wrap it up anyway. So
Yeah, let's finish.
all right,
this
let's finish
section.
her up. Then we'll call it a day. And next week I'm off because it's gonna be it's Thanksgiving week, not this week, but the next week. So I figure everyone's gonna be not listening anyway.
Okay, so on the 23rd.
Yeah, they just figure the entire week will take off because Thursday and Friday are write-offs anyway. So I'll take some thankfulness giving if I can.
Yeah, get some R&R.
Yeah, just want to watch more YouTube videos and just chillax a bit.
Okay.
So I just thought I'd give that announcement now because it's the beginning of this week, so I want to give you ample warning for everybody.
Then I was planning on as alternating topics and to give a break from this.
What do you have in 2 weeks then? What do you think? What are you thinking?
Well, now I'm not sure because it is we're skipping one, but I was thinking of doing a reading or from my book, a chapter that explains why nation states are illusions.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's another aspect of fakeology.
Yeah, that's in one of your books. Which book is that?
Encyclopedia Comedia.
Comedia.
So, Comedia, yeah. There's one chapter that discusses the history and flags and so on, and another chapter that discusses just the names of countries and explains quite a few of them.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it would be fun, and I think it's important because too many times I hear people discuss conflicts between nations and competition as if there really is, competition and conflict. They're falling for the illusion of nation states.
Well, they want to get rid of them anyway. At least the British globalists want to get rid of them.
Yeah, they want to get. That, of course, they do exist in the sense that we have nation states that exist to create the illusion of the nations. I'm not sure how else to say it, but there's every nation has its own managers, and that creates a lot of management issues for the Uber managers who are managing the managers. They'd like to simplify and centralize, and maybe even let their AI do some of the work.
All of the work. Don't have to pay benefits to robots.
Yeah, and don't have to bribe and blackmail politicians. Everyone is going to worship AI as the new god.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish it up. That sounds like generalistic talk. I do like that kind of talk, so that's right up my alley.
Good. One day we'll do that.
Okay.
Human farming. Okay. The Satanists, through their fictional God, and God through the equally fictional Moses, prophesied that Jewish mothers, actually satanic men, would eat their babies. Then you will eat the fruit of your womb, the flesh of the sons and daughters whom the Lord your God has given you. Okay, that's pretty clear. Eating babies. In the book of Ezekiel, God speaks of Jerusalem as if it were his child and says, "On the day you were born, your cord was not cut, nor were you washed with water to make you clean, nor were you rubbed with salt or wrapped in cloths." Rubbed with salt? Why would God rub an infant with salt unless he planned to
Sounds
eat
like
it?
dinner.
Yeah.
Salt brine. Someone just recommended I soak my turkey in a salt brine out of the freezer.
I discussed that with a chef friend of mine today.
Oh, you did too? That recommended, huh? That's how you make sure it's not freezer burned, I guess, or dried out.
I'm not sure. He knows more than me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 verses later, God speaks of the child as if he were a farmer and says, the child was his crop. I made you grow like a plant of the field. All right, we're farming children. In the Gospels, the newborn baby Jesus is placed in a manger. A manger is a trough from which livestock eat plant matter, and Jesus is the archetypal edible man made of bread and wine, both plant products. In the last book of the Bible, Revelation, the satanic authors gave us even better evidence that they eat babies. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. He, of course. Yeah. And, of course, the dragon.
It was written by Satanists, I think, wasn't it, really?
I think. I know so.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And just on the other show, I pointed out that the famous number 666 occurs in verse 18, which is code for 6. I mean,
and 18 is Chi. That's some number that Miles Mathis is always bringing up.
Yeah, you mentioned.
You know Chi, 18?
No, I don't know the meaning of Chi, but
they love it. I guess it's a Kabbalistic number. Let me see if the bot has something to say about Chi. But Miles Mathis goes on and on about he always sees 18s.
Yeah, there are lots, but it's not the only number.
Let's see, 18 Kabbalistic. Yeah, of course, there's millions of numbers. I just wanted to know what it says. Now I'm getting it all in Hebrew here. So carry on.
Yeah, well, we can stop here. It's exactly 9 if you like.
Oh, okay.
So far we've done about 8 or 9 subchapters, and you can see I have enough for 2 or 3 more shows on Satanism and cannibalism in the Bible.
Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. Let me just look up 18 here. Here's a deep dive into 18. The The number 18 holds profound significance in Kabbalah, blending gematria, symbolism, and mystical cosmology. Here's structured, authentic exploration based on core Kabbalistic sources: Zohar, Sefer, Yetzirah, Etzchaim. Means alive or living, eternal life, spiritual awakening, connection to the divine. Monetary gifts in Jewish tradition are given in multiples of 18. Weddings are bat mitzvahs, charities. Why? It's a blessing for life, literally giving life through the number. Example, a donation of 180 is 10 times the number, or tenfold life.
Too much. I think it's too much. Just keep it simple. It's the satanic number. It's their signature, one of many.
Well, I think it's one of their
funny.
biggest numbers. That's all. We do see it
Yeah.
everywhere
Yeah.
in fake stories.
And sixes.
But you were breaking it down to the sixes, but I'm saying standing on its own has a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
I'm not big into the numbers. I find it curious and fun, but I don't dwell on it. I don't think.
No, I mean, these codes are created by them in part because it amuses them. It somehow fulfills them. I don't know how much, but yeah, it doesn't really interest me that much, except that I'd like to expose them and be done.
Aces and eights, a dead man's hand. Is that poker? Yeah, that's what he calls it. Aces and eights.
Okay, yeah, the ace being one.
It's a poker hand. The infamous poker hand aces and eights is forever tied to Wild Bill Hickok, shot dead in 1875 while holding it. But beyond the Wild West legend, the combo carries deep numerological, Kabbalistic, and archetypal weight, especially when arrived through the lens of 18. There you go. So they were talking about it again. You because you bring up the numbers. That's why I thought you'd like this, but you're not really into it.
Not in the way like Hebrew culture has, what's the word, added more meanings to all these numbers. That's just, it's a bit too much for me.
All right.
There was if I can end on another Bible note. Yeah. I think 3 verses before the number 666 appears, there is a verse. I will paraphrase it. He who kills by the sword must be killed by the sword. And logically, that will result in everyone being dead. And that sentence is followed by this quote, "This is the patience and wisdom of the saints." Okay, yeah, we are dealing with insane people who are just mocking us.
Oh yeah, always, because we're stupid.
Most of us are not quite awake.
They're just stupid. Awake, because the information's all out there. Anyone can access all the information in the entire world right now. You just have to know how to process it, I suppose. Okay, well, I'm a little harsher than you, I guess, but whatever. That's
I can be harsh, but
as you get older and do this long enough, you just get impatient, I suppose, with people.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
All right, Peter, we'll keep in touch, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, I guess. And a couple show notes. Tomorrow is Tim Osmond. Tuesday is going to be, if he accepts the invitation, Lynn and Phil. Going to have them together. And then Wednesday, my show booker, Anna, has booked Autodidactic. They're a YouTube channel. Have you ever heard of them, Peter? Autodidactic?
Maybe not.
All right. Well, they're going to be on Wednesday. I've never heard of them before, but they're into all kinds of ancient cities, and I'm not sure if they're mud flooders, the ancient symbols of just ancient trees, just old buildings.
Wait a second.
Are you into that, Peter?
I have my special take on that. It was briefly alluded to today with the reference to the big former textile factory that stands here, which the Tartarians would say belonged to a superior culture. So I completely disagree with that. It belongs to the same Satanists who are currently eating babies and ruling the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit if that's where they stand, I find it's a bit naive and wishful to think that a really good civilization existed 200 years ago and was somehow overthrown by Jesuits or whoever.
Well, you pretty much said everyone was a farmer a few hundred years ago, and they're weren't educated. You've said that before.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, but now I would add that perhaps millions or at least thousands of us were being farmed and enslaved under cities in tunnels, and the Tartarians know all about that. Those tunnels, anyway.
The tunnels. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up with our Electric Avenue, Eddie Grant, and this has been the Electric Bible Part 2. And we'll see you next time, Pete. Have a good one.
Sounds good.
All
You
right.
too.
Take care, everybody. And you can write to Prophet of Fiction. His email address is in the show notes for today. This is FAK1165, Prophet of Fiction, Electric Bible Part 2. And we'll see you guys tomorrow with Tim Osmond. Bye.
Oh Lord, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Who is to blame in one country? Never can get to the one. Dealing in multiplication, and they still can't feed everyone. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.